So hey anime fans, the series name is What If Naruto Got Harem with Blackfire, so let's start the series. Naruto thought the mission would be as easy as preparing boxed ramen when Granny Tsunade gave it to them. They would simply have to pursue the duck butt and, once they caught up to him, pound some sense into his prickly ass and haul him home. How mistaken she had been. After departing, the gang discovered that the situation was far more combustible than they had anticipated. Initially, they discovered that Orochimaru and his soldiers were involved, and Naruto speculated that perhaps Sasuke had been coerced into leaving. It wasn't that easy yet. She had caught up to the missing Uchiha after she and the gang had somewhat parted ways, and she was certain that this marked the end of the operation. However, he didn't appear to be under any kind of control when she discovered him. Instead, he turned tail and fled without the snake's ninja's assistance or coercion. Since she had been attacked by a man brandishing a bone, she initially found it difficult to pursue him. However, once her buddy Gaara arrived, she was able to resume the chase. She quickly followed him out of the clearing once he gained control of the battle and ran in the direction she had last seen the Uchiha go. Naruto quickly caught up to him again after that. He had paused in the midst of a canyon and was standing atop the river that was flowing through it using his chakra. She recognized the area as the Valley of the End after jumping into the river herself and looking around to assess her surroundings, looking for traps as well as enemy reinforcements. She attempted to reason with her teammate, but he refused to listen. Instead, he attacked her, and she struck back. After a long struggle, she eventually brought him to a halt. She was now gasping for air, clutching her knees for balance, and scowling at Sasuke, who was standing 12 feet ahead of her. Naruto gasped, breaking her words often to catch her breath. "Face it, Sasuke. I'm not letting you go to that creep." From his own crouch, Sasuke looked up at her while pitifully dabbing at his perspiration. "Why won't you let me go, damn it?" he muttered at her. As she stood up with some effort, she grimaced and said, "I told you. I promised Sakura. Besides, I wouldn't have let you, even if she didn't ask. I know that whatever Orochimaru wants you for can't be good, just look at what he did to Anko," she said. "He wouldn't do that to me. I'm a Uchiha." He laughed at this. "You have those dumb Sharingan eyes, and that's precisely why he would kill you and remove them from your head. I wouldn't allow him to approach." "And why would you care what happened to me?" he asked arrogantly. "You have no business about it." "Dude, it's my business." "You fool, you're my pal. Who declared us to be friends?" Naruto stopped, looking pained, and wiped her face. "All right, so you're my teammate." "I'm not going to leave my teammate just because he's a jerk." He took a terrified step back, but a clone had already materialized and hit him in the face. He reeled back, flying several feet and into shallow water, while she hurried him before he could get any more time to rest. After all that labor, she wasn't going to let him drown, so she approached him, grabbed his shirt, and pulled him up before dragging him into shore and putting him down. After finishing her chore, she tried to control her breathing by putting her head between her legs and falling onto her butt. The faint thud of shinobi shoes alerted her that someone was approaching her as soon as she heard someone land on the lake, and she instantly stiffened, braced for battle. "How is my tiny genin doing?" She sighed without raising her head, acknowledging the voice. "He's only beaten down enough for us to carry him back home, nothing serious," she said. She felt a hand rest on her shoulder and said, "It's excellent to know, but not who I was worried for." What about my other genin then? Just tired. Sasuke wasn't that great, she said, smiling at the familiar mask and silver hair as she looked up. If you say so, but just so you know, I'm dropping you both off at the hospital, no exceptions, can't be too careful, right? Kakashi laughed while examining her black eye and her cut cheek, which was even now closing up. Fine, fine, I'll go to the stupid hospital, but only if you get me some ramen after, she said, dismissing his worried expression with a secret sense of gratitude. I can already feel my wallet weeping, so I'm limiting you to 2 bowls before you start paying me back, said Kakashi, giving her a sardonic glance. With a moan, Naruto took his hand and allowed him to drag her to her feet. She waited as he picked up the unconscious Uchiha. Her sensei waited until she had a good hold on his shoulder before he shucked them back, saying, "Hold on to my shoulder, Naruto, we're taking the fast way home." The young genin experienced whiplash as her reality repeatedly flashed into and out of existence, covering great distances in a matter of seconds. They soon returned to the village gates. When they returned, Naruto had to release her sensei and hold on to the stand's wall to avoid fainting. "Are you certain you're all right?" He gave Sasuke to a medical professional who was waiting just inside the gates, and he was on her side right away. "It's not that bad," he screamed as he noticed 2 knife holes in her chest, far larger than any weapon Sasuke had, but he urged, "Let me see," shifting her hands to get a closer look. "I thought you claimed you were okay." "I'm all right. No huge deal, I'll heal this." "This is serious, Naruto," he said, calling one of his dogs to go directly to Tsunade, report their return, and ask for help for his blonde student. "Just because most of the hospital staff hates you doesn't mean I'm letting you go without treatment," he said. Normally, he would respect her privacy, but her wounds were severe, and he didn't feel like sitting on the sidelines and letting her die because he was too concerned about his modesty to be concerned about her bleeding out. He made her sit down to the side while he dug through his bag to get his emergency first aid. After he had done so, he made his genin remove her jacket and started cleaning her wounds as best he could. "Where did they originate from?" "They don't appear to be sword wounds," he inquired in a serious tone, and Naruto could see he wasn't usually this serious. "Sasuke did his lightning thingy and I couldn't dodge in time. What did he do?" "Oh no. He should never have learned that from me." "Why are there 2 of them?" he snarled, draping bandages over her chest. He gave her cheek many slaps as her head was nodding sideways. "Naruto, I need you to stay awake for me, okay? I had a question for you." "I apologize, sensei." "What was it?" Her eyes dilated dangerously as she slurred. He sat her higher so she couldn't lean against the wall and repeated, "I asked you why you have 2 stab wounds." In the hopes that this would keep her awake. "We were fighting, and he did his light-in-hand thingy." "His Chidori?" "Yeah, his Chikori, and so I made my Rasengan, and we hit them together, only I couldn't kill him, so I let my jutsu go, and he stabbed me, and then later he stabbed me again, when we were talking." "Well, you did an awesome job, Naruto," he said, rolling his eyes at her mispronunciation of the jutsu, but he let her go since he needed her to continue. She was already beginning to faint again, so he frantically tried to strike up a new discussion. "Hey Naru. You performed so well on this task that you will definitely make it to Hokage." "Really, you think so?" She mumbled, eyes turning to him drowsily, "I know it. What do you think your first day on the job will be like?" That really got her going, and he became a little more relaxed. He listened carefully to her mumbling, relieved that she was no longer sleeping. He listened to what she said as she mumbled for another minute, and then he saw Tsunade fade into thin air. "How is she?" "Not good at all, nearly passed out a little bit ago. She was stabbed twice with Chidori, and I didn't find out until we got here. I patched her up as best as I could, but I'm worried I found it too late." He heard Naruto slur, "I'm fine Kashi-sense." Really, he delivered her to the Hokage, who promptly vanished to go to the hospital, complaining softly, "Sure you are, now let my worry-word ass send you to the hospital anyway." After they left, he sank to the ground and fell against the wall, observing his trembling hands. As soon as she emerged from the operating room, Kakashi inquired, "How is she doing, Hokage-sama?" As she walked down the hallways, she responded, "She'll live, thankfully. She was pretty injured, and it looks bad, but with her Uzumaki heritage, as well as the Kyuubi, she'll make it." "What about the others?" Kakashi asked, feeling a sigh of relief as he followed. None of them were as critical, and they all made it back long before she did. The ones who went into the emergency room were treated long before anything got serious. All of them should be back into service within the month. Naruto was the worst off of the bunch. "I want him off the team," Kakashi said angrily, shaking his head. "To think, out of all of them, the one who went after their former comrade is the one who was injured the worst," he said. "As do I," replied Tsunade, "but as much as I want to sentence him for life, we need his stupid bloodline. The best I can do is probably going to be house arrest with a 24-hour umbu guard. After that probation, with little chance for promotion, maybe I can get away with putting him into umbu. They'll knock all thoughts of treason out of him." In order to avoid bumping into her, Kakashi stopped as she stopped in the hallway. He followed her eyes to see the council elders approaching them. Danzo was quickly followed by Koharu and Hamura. "Tsunade-sama," said Danzo. Tsunade chewed out, "It's Hokage-sama to you, Danzo-san." He said, "Ah, yes, forgive me," without trying to amend himself. Tsunade took control of the situation by assuming the character of the Hokage and asking, "What do you want, Danzo?" While he was saying, "I'm sorry, I'm here for the arrest of Uzumaki Naruto," he produced a copy of the original arrest warrant. Tsunade clutched the paper and held it up to read, "Arrest? For what?" He mockingly remarked, "For the attack of Uchiha Sasuke, of course." "What attack?" Danzo answered, "The one that put him in the hospital." Kakashi came forward, "I apologize, Elder-san, but I brought both of them in. The worst injury Sasuke had was a black eye and a few bruises and cuts. There was nothing serious enough to warrant a trip to the hospital." "Then you must be blind, Hitaki. He's currently under urgent care. He almost bled out from the multiple lacerations on his body, not to mention he almost lost one of his eyes. The doctors saved it, but he will forever be scarred." Staring at Danzo, Kakashi was perplexed. He then turned to face Tsunade, who was furious. "Bullshit. I want proof." He gave her a report and a number of photos, which she looked over, becoming more and more upset and irritated with each one. "I feel like we must apologize, Hokage-sama. She is an excellent shinobi, but injuries of this magnitude on a person of this importance, well, it's pretty damning on someone's career," Hamura said, giving the Hokage a sad look while Koharu appeared to be sucking a lemon, her distaste for the situation radiating from every nerve. As quietly as she could, Tsunade stated, "As her personal doctor, I forbid you to move her out of that room. Her situation is critical. As her sensei, I'm fighting her charges. I know what I saw, and I know my student. She wasn't the one to injure Sasuke," said Kakashi as he turned to leave after Danzo nodded. Danzo gazed at Kakashi with a smug expression. If you know anyone else with the type of chakra we found all over his body, please feel free to bring it up. I don't know of anyone else with that chakra. At that, Kakashi froze. That chakra? Could he not mean? Kohara now said, watch it, Danzo, that law was never revoked. With a dry tone, Danzo said, of course, I find myself apologizing again. We will be sending Ninja in a few moments, and she will be placed under arrest in her room, where she will not be allowed visitors. The only people who can enter the room are her doctor and the guards. The daimyo will be here soon to oversee the trial. He then passed them, going down the hall and down the stairs on the other side. After giving them pitying looks, Koharu and Hamura followed Danzo. When Tsunade started to sprint walk, Kakashi sagged and asked, how did this even happen? He pursued her, avoiding the numerous physicians and nurses who had fled from the enraged Hokage. They arrived at a room guarded by two Umbu, who opened it without asking their Hokage or her visitor any questions. They both gaped in disbelief at Sasuke's injuries. Kakashi scowled in exasperation as she saw the Sannin rub the Uchiha with her glowing hands. She raised her fists in the air and exclaimed, how? How on earth were they able to obtain that chakra? I was keeping an eye on her as soon as she returned. So, is that accurate? Is the Kyuubi's chakra all over him? Yes. I simply have no idea how. With a sigh, Kakashi looked at her intently and said, I think I might know actually, Kakashi, if you don't begin to explain right away, I'm going to give you a punch so hard that you'll have to return to the land of fire. When I was tracking them I felt a bit of the Kyuubi's chakra, it's what led me in her direction. When I got there, they both looked pretty beat up, but Sasuke had none of the injuries he does now. If I were to guess, Naruto drew on the power of the Kyuubi when she was stabbed, in order to survive the Chidori. That would account for the chakra. But what about the injuries? This reeks of a setup, she said, pacing before her face contorted in disgust. You think? Kakashi's visage glanced at her. Danzo is framing Naruto, thus he must be involved in this. Knowing Danzo, we won't be getting her out easily, and even when we do get her out, things will only get worse. She's not liked very much already. When Danzo spreads his lies around it'll only get worse, I understand. Oh no. Jiraiya, where are you? We require him. Probably on a chase for his student's newest sensei, Tsunade stomped out of the room. After observing his unconscious pupil for a while, Kakashi shook his head and left the room. He wasn't focused on Sasuke, he had a student to assist. Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Kakashi were gathered around a desk, going through documents. How did she react? He sighed, not very well. She can't believe that they'd do something like this. When I left she was looking pretty down, Jiraiya said, clearing his throat as he looked up to meet Kakashi's gaze before turning to see Tsunade observing him as well. I did promise her we'd do everything we could to clear her name, he said. Kakashi gave a sympathetic nod. What time has the trial been set by the daimyo? Shizun says that it's scheduled for 2 days from now. The daimyo is arriving tomorrow, but wants a day to rest before having to deal with work. Tsunade read over the notepad Shizun had given her, reviewing all the details of the trial. Jiraiya's response caused her to grimace. Do we have all we require? Character witnesses. Did we speak with everyone who accompanied her on the mission? Other than the 3 of us, someone to represent her. We've gotten character witnesses from all her classmates, as well as from her pink-haired teammate. We talked to everyone on the mission as well. It doesn't paint a flattering picture, but it's a picture that paints her innocence, so I'll take it," Jiraiya replied. "I've talked to Irika and he pointed me to an unbiased lawyer. I've already done a background check, he's clean," replied Kakashi. "Have you and him reviewed everything?" "He is aware of every piece of evidence they will offer. We went over everything multiple times. I left him a few copies of everything." Tsunade exhales. "Good, we can't screw this up." Jiraiya paused, saying, "Speaking of not screwing up. What took place?" With concern already growing, Tsunade jerked her head in his direction fiercely. "I was just thinking, it would probably be best to tell her comrades about Naruto's situation," Jiraiya began after Tsunade sighed in relief and said, "Nothing's wrong, Heim." "We have," Kakashi replied, casting an odd glance at Jiraiya. "Not in this circumstance." "That circumstance?" He indicated with his stomach. "Why would we do that, too? Imagine what will occur. Tsunade is mine. We're going into a courtroom, and we all know that the courtroom laws supersede any of the laws set up by the Hokage," Jiraiya said with a heavy sigh, rubbing his nose in annoyance. "What's your point? Considering the nature of the charges, everyone in that courtroom will be exempt from Sarutobi's legislation when we enter there," he added, observing their resigned expressions. "And what do you think is going to happen?" "They will be accusing her of using the Kyuubi in an attempt to kill Sasuke," Kakashi said. "Don't you think it would be better to inform them of her burden right away and give them some time to think it over? Instead of letting them know in court and then having them decide to screw her while they're still in a panic?" "Jiraiya's right, we can't take that chance. Bring everyone who will be involved in her defense here, I'll tell them." Jiraiya nodded and walked out of the room with Kakashi. They needed to do some rounding up. Underscore 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 underscore. What is sealed within of her? Ino screamed, "Troublesome." Shikamaru mumbled angrily as he rubbed a finger inside his ear. "I told you that Naruto has the 9 tails sealed inside her stomach," Tsunade kept saying. "But that's..." Kiba said in horror. Shikamaru responded on the Hokage's behalf, "A common situation, she's classified as a Jinchuriki," and she gave him a skeptical look. "You knew? I suspected, you confirmed it," with a grumble. "So troublesome. All right, fine, let me break this down for you all. I figured something was up during the academy, when all the teachers would sabotage her tests. Over the next couple months I investigated, and I found that everyone treated her similarly, not selling her good food, selling her clothing and weapons in bad state. The list goes on." Despite everyone's growing dread, Shikamaru continued, "After that, I told my father about her, and about how I found her living in the park. My father told me that he'd talk to the Hokage and not to worry about it. Sure enough, the next time I saw her she was talking about how the third bought her an apartment after she had been kicked out of the orphanage." Shikamaru took a deep breath and kept going. "So I knew that her situation was serious enough for the Hokage to be personally involved. Then, using her treatment from the villagers, the Hokage's involvement as well as her birthmarks and mannerisms, I looked through sources from various locations. It wasn't until my dad recently started teaching me about the other villages' military structures that I found another lead," he said after pausing as if recalling a frustrating memory. "Tsunade provided, the other country's Jinchuriki, precisely," said Shikamaru. "Everything was similar, from being social pariahs, to the large chakra natures. Even her birthmark was similar, though the mark differs for every Jinchuriki. And, how do you feel about it? Tsunade asked with a cautious nod. Shikamaru gave a weary shrug. I'm afraid I'm going to need more than a shrug to entrust Naruko's safety with you all right, fine. I don't care, Shikamaru grumbled. You're indifferent. Tsunade questioned doubtfully, replied, look, if she was anything like the beast, she'd have killed us all long ago. Based on the fact she hasn't, shows that she either has good control over it, doubtful considering her temper, or the seal holding the Kyuubi in is extremely strong, considering that the fourth Hokage died to defeat the Kyuubi. I'm guessing he was the one to seal it, and he was the best seal master born in Konoha, so we have nothing to worry about from the Kyuubi. Shikamaru then turned to his classmates and said, even after all of this, Naruko is one of the best people I've ever met. She never gives in to the anger that she has probably been holding inside for years because of her circumstances. Instead, she always tries her hardest to support her friends. After all, who was the first to volunteer for the retrieval mission? Or the disappearance of Akamaru? Who was it that discovered him? Or how about the occasion when one of us had to watch the store while requiring specific items from the store that wouldn't be available by the end of the sale? For you, who kept an eye on the store? How about all the times she's assisted us in dire circumstances or slapped us with reality when we're being tough? I'd love to beat your ass some sense, and I won't be as nice as Naruko when she does it. Think about every single instance she's sacrificed her own time, money, or energy to do something for each and every one of us, he said, glancing at different people. Then look me in the eye and try to tell me she's evil or is a demon. Shikamaru gazed into each of their eyes, searching for potential troublemakers, but he was relieved to see none. He then turned to face the shocked Hokage, who nodded. All right, well, all that being said, I need to know where each and every one of you stand before I let you into that courtroom tomorrow, Tsunade said, clearing the lump in her throat without coming across as pitiful. She turned to face Shikamaru, who was at the end of the line, and said, I know where you stand already, how about you Choji? The boy looked up gravely and said, now that I know what's really going on, I won't be letting anyone talk bad about her in front of me. They're wrong about her, after thoughtfully munching on a chip before speaking. Naruko has always been nice to me, and my parents really like her as well. I've never really paid attention to any of the villagers when they told us horrible things about her. Tsunade gave him a nod and said, Ino. How about you? I'm actually disgusted with myself right now. I sort of gossiped about her sometimes in the academy. I thought that because everyone hated her she was a bad person. I'll start telling everyone what I really think of her, now that I know over half the people I know are misinformed and the rest are prejudiced jerks. Hinata. You, well, I've always respected her. She's always been really kind to me. She's helped me more than she knows. Tsunade looked at Kiba and nodded to her. Kiba was snarling angrily, saying, this is unbelievable. They sabotaged her. They're filthy, which is why I left. Kiba snarled, and Akamu followed suit. Inuzuka's never separate, we're a pack. And our pack is the village. We never desert our pack once we become ninja. It's unbelievable that we treated one of our own so poorly. When I tell my mom, he sighed bitterly, she'll lose it. Your mother already knows, all adults old enough to remember the Kyuubi attack and the events after it do, not at all. My mother would never tolerate such treatment. Shino intervened, saying, it's likely that she is unaware of the complete scope of Naruko's predicament. Why am I saying this? Given that a large portion of Naruko's circumstances are classified, it makes sense to believe that her abusers attempted to conceal much of their cruelty in order to continue. Why do I think this? Since it is illegal to discuss her illness, they nevertheless managed to propagate their hatred of her without breaching the law. If they have done so, it is reasonable to conclude that others who feel comfortable breaking the law have fared considerably worse. Kiba gave Shino a nod, still furious but letting his temper subside. Tsunade said, "I think I understand your position on the matter, Shino." Shino raised her eyebrows. "I stand with Naruko, she's never treated me different, even with my bugs." Before Tsunade could completely turn to face him, Rock Lee moved forward. "Naruko-chan looks young. She would never have committed any of the charges against her. I'm for her." He shouted with emotion and gave a huge thumbs up. Tsunade nodded tightly to him, appreciating the encouragement but not so much the yelling. She turned to face Tenten, who gave her a staring gaze. She shook herself out of whatever was going on in her mind before taking a step forward. "I've never thought of her the way the other villagers did, and I'm not starting now. She was my roommate back when we were in the orphanage. Despite everything the patrons put her through, she was always willing to help me, even when it came to hard labor chores like chopping wood for the winter fires." Nearly all eyes shifted to Niji, who opened his closed eyes to gaze at the Hokage. "I've been thinking about the things she told me during our fight and I've come to a decision." Everyone watched with interest, knowing that this was a pivotal moment in Niji's life. "I've always believed in the power of fate. She is a living example of why I shouldn't be so consumed with it. If she was truly the monster everyone fears her as, she would have already killed them like they claim. Seeing as she hasn't, I can only conclude that fate is bullshit. From now on, I will be working with Hinata to change the current state of the Hyuga family. I owe a great deal of gratitude toward Uzumaki-san, a debt I intend to pay back. I can't do that if she's not here. I will help her to the best of my abilities." Everyone looked at Sakura, who appeared to be torn. "I know that Naruko wouldn't have hurt Sasuke like they say she did, but my mom has been telling me all sorts of things about Naruko since I told her she was in our class." Sakura lashes out at her nose. "I've never treated her fairly, mostly because I allowed myself to believe everything my mom said. It's going to be hard to get rid of all those thoughts, but I'll try." For Naruko, with a sigh of relief, Tsunade acknowledged that they were all in accord, but this was just the beginning. "Now that that's over with, you should all go home and rest. You'll be called into the courtroom to be character witnesses for her. It's likely that they will try to persuade you to give her a bad report, or even intimidate you to lie about her. Be as honest as you can, and be as firm as you can. Don't change any of your answers. They'll try and make everyone believe you're lying if they can get you to change even a single word, and above all, please no heroics. The last thing she needs is for you all to bust in there and kidnap her. It'll only add fuel for their arguments. Am I understood?" "Hi Hokage-sama, you are all dismissed." Underscore 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 underscore. I have a hazy understanding of how the court operates, /_ smiley face _/, the daimyo declared. Court is now in session, pounding his hammer once. The man was a little outlandish and eccentric, but he was also wise, fair, and powerful. Tsunade hoped that his role as judge benefited Naruto, and that no one would attempt to challenge their daimyo's decision. Tsunade had no idea what she would do if he found her guilty, but the least severe punishment conceivable would be for Naruto to never again enter the land of fire. I'd like to start off by calling to the stand several of Uzumaki-san's and Uchiha-san's peers. Starting off, may I call their teammate, Sakura Haruno, to the stand, Naruto's attorney stated. Here we go, Tsunade pondered. Do you, Sakura Haruno, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you Kami? As Sakura pledged, I swear. What can you tell me about Naruto Uzumaki? She is the most hard-working and kind person I've ever known, is that so? I have multiple witnesses who state that they have seen the two of you arguing multiple times. Is this true? The man asked, pausing as though perplexed before continuing. Yes, it is. So you both argue periodically. Do you not admit that she was possessive and controlling? She was neither. Multiple people have stated differently. Are you telling me that they are lying? I'm saying they don't have the full truth. And what is the full truth? I'm not a very understanding person, and I have a very short fuse. Sometimes I let my anger get the better of me, and a lot of times I've let my anger out on Naruto, who I know doesn't really deserve a lot of it. Naruto raised his eyes brightly from the defendant's seat. Are you denying that she would constantly try to force you in engagements of unknown content? You make her sound like she was trying to rape me or something. No. Sometimes she would pester me, but she was really just trying to be my friend. If she was just trying to be your friend, why did you always refuse her? As I said before, I would let a lot of my anger out on her. Sometimes I'd blame her for Sasuke refusing to date me. Other times I'd think she was trying to steal Sasuke away, or I'd just be following peer pressure and refuse her offer because it looked cool. So, if you constantly denied her requests of friendship, why would she continue trying? She's stubborn, and she could probably tell I needed an actual friend, not the phony friends I surrounded myself with constantly. Looking back, I can count the amount of real friends I had on a single hand. Now, how about Sasuke Uchiha? How do you feel about him? The lawyer asked, nodding. By concentrating on the task at hand, Sakura suppressed the temptation to shriek at the name. Underscore 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 underscore. Sasuke is an idiot, said Kiba. He's always been acting like he's better than everyone. It's like looking at a hissing exploding tag. He's volatile. Exactly. When we were in the forest of death for our Chunin exams, the guy freaked. Broke a genin's arms for no real reason. They had surrendered and everything. Battlefield actions don't always say much about one's actions in civilian life. Sasuke was laughing while he did it. He even had these black lines all over his body. Black lines? Yeah. I don't really know what they did, but he smelled really evil. You smelled him? I'm an Inuzuka. We can smell emotions. You can. What's the process? Well, we kind of smell when people release pheromones when experiencing emotions. The stronger the emotion, the stronger the scent, and you detected a hint of wickedness in him. He practically reeked of malice, sort of like sewage reeks, or even rotten food reeks. So, you claim that he exuded malice. How is Uzumaki-san doing? Has she ever had a malicious odor? Not really. I mean, I smelled her when she was angry once, but then it wasn't malice, it was more like I smelled desperation, specifically, desperation to protect, is something different. A big difference. Underscore 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 underscore. You claim that your bugs are able to detect chakra. Is this comparable to the Inuzuka's capacity to detect emotion? It is similar in that it can tell the nature of a person and the intentions behind their chakra. Yes. Have you ever encountered an irate Uzumaki-san? Many times, yes. And have your bugs ever sensed that her chakra was evil in any way? They have never sensed evil from her. No, however, did they detect her when she used the Kyubi's chakra? They have. And how did they tell you it felt? My bugs were understandably uncomfortable with the nature of the chakra, but they could tell that the intent behind it was pure. Can you explain that to the jury? Not all of them will know what that means. When someone uses chakra, Aburame bugs can sense both the nature and the intent of the user. The nature of the chakra is, of course, whether it is a well-trained shinobi, a civilian, or chakra from forbidden jutsu or a tailed beast. This is what makes us excellent trackers. Select bugs also develop the ability to tell the intent behind the chakra, which is useful to tell if an opponent means to attack or if they are peaceable. For example, they can tell if someone is angry by their chaotically swirling chakra. It is being built up in preparation to attack, and they can sense the pheromones being released into the chakra, telling if they are angry. And when did you notice she was utilizing the Nine Tails chakra? They could instantly tell that the chakra was not that of a human, but they could also sense Uzumaki-san's chakra underneath it all. From the emotions being released into her own chakra, they could tell she was anxious to protect, not anxious to kill. Thank you for clarifying. Underscore 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 underscore. Thank you for taking the stage, Hyuga-san. Defying a panic attack, Hinata said. You're welcome. I understand you get nervous easily. I have trouble speaking, sometimes, Hinata said, nodding her head. I see, and how this affected your relationship with Uzumaki-san? I try to tell her exactly how much she helps me, but I've never been able to build up the courage. You admire her? I do. Why is that? She's been helping me stand up for myself since I entered the academy, so for many years. Hinata gave a nod. And how exactly has she done this? Well, sometimes she gives me advice, or she'll tell me that I'm worth much more than my family says I'm worth. Mostly she leads by example, and shows me what standing up for yourself means, even if it made her less liked by others. Thank you, Hyuga-san. What about your bloodline? Can you explain to me what your bloodline does? Underscore 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 Niji said. I don't mean to be rude, lawyer-san, but I believe you already asked Hinata-sama this question, making eye contact with the man from his seat. I know, but it's nice to know the differences of a bloodline based on their user. Very well, I shall answer as truthfully as I can without spreading clan secrets. That is understandable. The Byakugan is capable of seeing chakra, plain and simple. We can see natural chakra, the chakra of animals, of civilians and of shinobi. We can also see the chakra networks that shinobi develop when they train with their chakra. The more proficient a shinobi is, the better control they have over their chakra, the easier it is for them to open and close their own pathways. And can your eyes see the kyubi within Uzumaki-san's seal? Not exactly. What do you mean by that? Looking at her now, I can see 2 chakra sources, but I cannot see a demon fox, so you can see the fox's chakra as well as Uzumaki's chakra. I see Uzumaki-san's chakra, and I see the fox's chakra powering the seal. You can see it powering the seal. How so? When I look at a person's chakra source, it pulses like a heartbeat. This pulse is what creates chakra flow. If I may ask, what does this have to do with how you can see the chakra powering the seal? Everything, lawyer-san. Uzumaki-san's chakra pulses, the demon's chakra flows, and how is this difference important? It means that the fox's chakra is locked away. She can access it, but because it isn't pulsing, the fox does not have control of her. I would be worried if it was pulsing. That indicates the chakra is being guided by thoughts or consciousness, by the flowing movement of the chakra. I can tell that the seal is locking the consciousness behind the chakra away, while providing Uzumaki-san with the ability to draw on the beast's chakra in emergencies. Underscore 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 underscore. Sorry to let you down, lawyer-san, but my abilities don't work like that. You cannot sense chakra. No, responded Ino, my mind transfer abilities don't focus on the chakra of the body, they focus on the chakra of the mind. I can't see or smell her chakra, only transfer my consciousness into a person's head. It's not very safe to enter a Jinchuriki's head. Why is that? Well, they essentially have 2 consciousness in their body. One is the owner and controller of the body, and the other one is locked away into the recesses of the original's mind. When a Jinchuriki is created, their seal basically makes an advanced labyrinth for it in their mind. Sort of like a mental defense against anyone trying to destroy the mentality of the Jinchuriki. If I tried to hop in, it's very likely I could get lost, and I'd then be stuck. When you say destroy the mentality of the Jinchuriki, what did you mean by it? She looked at many of the individuals in the room, some of whom shifted uneasily, and said, there are several ways to destroy a Jinchuriki's mind. One is a planned mental attack, usually by a shinobi. Another is the gradual wear and tear that happens when subjected to years of abuse and neglect. Is there any reason to worry about the mental state of Uzumaki-san's mind? Yes and no. Can you explain? Certainly. When I say no, I mean she will not go insane and butcher everyone in Konoha. I've been with her long enough to know she'd kill herself before that, and yes. Precisely that. There's a large chance she can inflict self-harm, if she hasn't been doing so already. I can see some of her actions as self-harm, such as living here when she has every right to leave. She's already done enough for us as it is. Luckily for us all, she's stubborn, so now we all have a chance to right the wrongs we've done her. As she gazed at her fellow misty-eyed blonde, she replied, I meant that too. So, other than some need of therapy, can you think of anything else that might be wrong with Uzumaki-san? From a family of mental health experts' perspective, we'd need a therapy session to be sure, but no, there is nothing in regards to the 9 tails that is wrong with her, just years of pent-up abuse and neglect. underscore 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 underscore. You were the sensei to both Uzumaki-san and Uchiha-san while they were in the academy, correct? I was. What can you tell me about the both of them? Sasuke was academically a good student, always learning the material and passing all the tests. He earned his position as Rookie of the Year for his class, but he wasn't good at dealing with his fellow classmates or his teachers. Many times I had to take him aside and lecture him because he was yelling at the teachers, or he had gone overboard in a spar. How would he go overboard? He would sometimes use weapons that had been banned for the duration of the fight. I also caught him breaking a student's arm after the end of the match had been called. Regarding the banned weapons, isn't it a ninja's job to break the rules in order to gain an advantage on the battlefield? Normally, yes. However, in the case of an academy student, we don't ban weapons, jutsu, or moves just to level the playing field. We ban the use of them because we see that a student has become reliant on those techniques, and we are trying to challenge them to learn new things. Or we see that a student isn't understanding the material we taught them, and we need them to understand that they do need to learn that technique, because if they don't they won't know how to counter it in the field, and if they're in the field and they run into it, they can likely die. And how was Uchiha-san's reaction to these lectures? Oftentimes he becomes standoffish, other times he would yell at me for holding him back. He would always mention his ambition to kill his older brother. Kill his brother? He was the one responsible for the Uchiha massacre. Ever since then Sasuke has been obsessed with the idea of hunting his brother down and avenging his clan, so he's been a likely flight case since the Uchiha massacre. I wouldn't know, I'm just a teacher. However, after this case, it's very likely he will be if he wasn't before. I see. How about Uzumaki-san? What was she like? She was a rebellious prankster, Irika said with a look of frustration. A prankster? She once painted the entire Hokage monument in broad daylight. After pausing in confusion, the lawyer said, that was her, before gathering himself and asking, has there ever been any violent pranks? Never anything that would harm a person, just inconvenience them for an hour or two. The worst anything got was maybe a few cases of itching powder, and all of these pranks, what was the reason for them? The lawyer said, nodding. In my humble opinion, I believe it was a way to gain attention that wasn't directly associated with the fox. I see, so you're saying that she was tired of being mistreated because of her burden and would rather be punished because she pranked someone. Exactly, Irika said with a nod of agreement. And how many pranksters have you dealt with? Is she the only one? I was actually a prankster myself, when I was in my academy years. I know that when I started doing pranks, much of what I did is exactly like what Naruto did, and a lot of my actions were based on a need for a break from the loneliness and hurt. I may not be an expert, but I see a lot of myself in her. I see. And what about her academic career? Was she a good student? Was she a perfect student like Sakura? No. Was she an avid learner? Yes. Can you explain? For clarification, well, she had had terrible teachers for 3 years prior to me becoming her teacher. Bad teachers? What do you mean by that? She barely knew how to read for Kami's sake when I first received her, and when I spoke with her, I discovered that her former teachers had been impeding her learning. By the time she came to me, she had come to believe that school didn't matter because no matter how hard she tried, she would be wrong, even if the teachers had to make her be wrong. I had to spend months after every day of class to catch her up to where she should have been. I discovered that whenever they could find any excuse, even if it was made up, they would send her out of the classroom and make her miss up to a full week of class work at any one time. Other teachers would give her more difficult tests or cover the test with an illusion, so she either couldn't answer or would bubble in an answer that looked right but was incorrect. How did she behave after that? She was constantly vying for my attention, soaking up everything I taught her like a sponge. Whenever she would play pranks she'd never go after me, and even if she did it was always lighter compared to some of her other ones. When she was running from capture she'd make sure I was the only one she let find her. Even if she was running from Umbu, from what we've been discussing, she is a skilled shinobi, but she's never been given the chance to show it. Exactly, it's only been since I passed her that she's been able to show how great she is. She convinced a whole village to fight back against their oppressors. She's kept up with a prodigy like Sasuke with pure determination. Heck, she fought against two prodigies when she fought Niji-san during the exams, and won. She fought the Sand Village's Jinchuriki on her own, and convinced him to be a better person right after it. If that isn't a great shinobi, I don't know what one is. You sound rather proud of her accomplishments. I'm proud of all my students' progress. But I do admit I'm much more proud of Naruto, mostly because she's gotten so far despite having had such a bad start. Thank you. No more questions for Irika, Your Honor. Underscore 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 underscore. What does youthful mean to you? Naruto-chan exudes youthfulness. However, what does that mean to you? Her body and spirit are both strong. He could not strike the wounded ninja in front of witnesses because it would destroy his career, the lawyer said with a heavy sigh. Breathe. Underscore 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 underscore. How do you and Uzumaki-san relate to each other? When we were in the academy, we'd always ditch class together. Was it just you that ditched Akimichi-san? Or were there others? It was usually myself, Naruto, Shikamaru, and Kiba. Sometimes Naruto would convince Shino or Hinata to tag along, but usually it was only us four. She would convince Abarum-san and Hyuga-san to ditch class. Only when she could tell they needed a break. I'm not sure how she could tell with Shino, but whenever she brought them along they'd always have something important on their mind, and she'd either provide herself as a distraction or lend an ear to listen to their problems. She sounds like a good friend. She is. I share chips with her. May I ask, why is sharing chips important? Akimichi don't share with just anyone, and why is that? We use the proteins and vitamins within food to power our techniques. Between missions all Akimichi spend their time eating to store energy for their techniques in their bodies. That's why we don't take sharing lightly. I see. Thank you very much for answering, Akimichi-san. May I ask something for those ignorant to shinobi ways? Yes, you may. When you eat and store energy, most of it is stored in the body's natural fats, correct? The man was on very thin ice, and Choji's eyes sharpened. Yes, so that stored energy is then used in your techniques during missions. Do your techniques cost a lot of energy, both chakra and other bodily energy? The man said, sensing it from the sheen of his perspiration. Very. So this energy is what literally keeps your techniques active. which then keeps you and your comrades alive, yes? The man asked, turning to Choji as he reluctantly nodded. So then, before sharing the food with anyone else, an Akimichi generally must trust the recipient with their lives, am I correct? He asked, clearly moving away from the volatile genin. Exactly, Choji said with a smile, seeing the direction the man was taking. Does an Akimichi trust someone easily? Are we nice to people? Yes, do we trust them easily? No, it usually takes someone many years of patience before we begin to trust them. If you ever lose our trust, it's very likely you'll never get it back, the lawyer replied playfully. And we can hold grudges for a very long time. No more questions. Does the prosecution have any questions? No, Your Honor, but we reserve the right to bring Akimichi-san back up to the stand at a later time, acknowledged. After waltzing back into the crowd, Choji sat down beside Shikamaru. You just had to torment the poor man, didn't you? Shikamaru growled in response to Choji's expression. Troublesome, brutal man. Just brutal, Kiba said as he gave Choji a fist bump. Underscore 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 underscore. And how do you know Uzumaki-san, miss? Tenten Kishimoto. Really? Interesting. I've been told you were adopted. Yes, that is correct. How long ago was this? I was 8, so about 6 years ago. I see. Tell me, how old were you when you met Uzumaki-san? We were roommates in the same orphanage, so I guess I've known her for my whole life. Interesting. Would you say she would be the closest thing to a sister you've had? I like to think so. I'm not sure how she felt, but I've always thought of her like one. She noticed that Naruto was staring into her lap, and she didn't like the anxious expression that crossed her face. May I ask, when did you two begin to grow apart? I wouldn't say we grew apart. She was thrown out of the orphanage when I was 7, I didn't know where she went at first. She was thrown out of the orphanage. Did they tell you why? The matrons all had different reasons, ranging from being destructive to murder attempts. I've never believed any of them. I see, none of these stories were consistent. They were neither consistent nor probable. Whenever they told the story it was always different. One of the matrons claimed Naruto jumped from the roof of the 3-story building with a knife just to stab her. She was with me at the time the matron claimed it happened. And I also feel the need to mention this was before she'd even begun learning what chakra even was, so not only did they throw a minor out on the streets to fend for herself, they also slandered her good name. He replied, have you ever tried to reconnect with Uzumaki-san? Restore what was so violently torn away? We were able to, for a short while, but then one of the matrons saw us hanging out together. After that Naruto began avoiding me. I see. And how did that play out? Did she see the matron and then disappear right then? No, we were hanging outside the orphanage, just barely inside the playground that was built just next door, when the matron stepped outside to call in all the orphans. When the matron saw her, she got angry, but then she pulled a kind expression on her face. She asked me to hurry up with saying farewell to my friend. We sort of said goodbye really quickly and then the matron watched her. When I went outside to wait for her the next day she never showed, she didn't show up. Did you try talking to her at the academy? You both went there at the same time, if not in the same year. I did. But whenever she saw me she'd bolt. For a while I thought she didn't care about me anymore, but considering recent events I'm sure something else is up. Do you remember when that happened? Tenten said, I'm not sure I remember the date exactly, with a focused expression on her face. Please try. She was more focused. I think it was sometime in the fall the year they kicked her out. Yes, that's right, it had to be, because I remember teasing her with a Christmas present I was considering buying for her. That is interesting. It just so happens, I have something with me that can provide a little insight as to why she'd have stopped visiting you so abruptly. He picked up a baggie and held it up for everyone to see as he made his way back to his desk. Inside was a kunai, and a small message was folded up around the handle. For reference, this was found at the scene of a crime committed that very fall 6 years ago, at Uzumaki-san's apartment. The house had been wrecked and Miss Uzumaki had been attacked while she had been getting ready for bed. The man who broke in was caught, but he had always claimed to have been paid off, due to the victim's identity. Not much effort was made into following the lead. He was looking at the bag in order to respond to every query. He continued, "Wrapped around this kunai is a message. If you'd like, Your Honor, I can read it aloud, and providing everyone wears gloves, I will pass it around for everyone to read themselves." The lawyer took some rubber gloves and the daimyo/judge gave his approval. He put them on and gave the box of gloves to a security officer, who then distributed them to the jury and the judge. The lawyer waited for everyone to finish putting the gloves on before starting to read. The letter begins as following: "I know you are evil, and I intend to prove it. I can't just stand by and watch as you threaten the lives of my subjects with your presence. Leave them alone, or I will have to take drastic measures. Whichever orphan I find you with, I will kill them in an act of mercy. I will then hack off their body parts and send them through your mail. If you truly value their lives, I will not have to send them in pieces, or would you like that? I hope you truly are selfish, will finally have an inexcusable reason to be rid of you." Many audience members recoiled at the warning, shocked by the violence that was predicted. How could a mother like that care for any children? Tenten's gaze was fixed on Naruto, who was unable to look her in the eye. After reading the message himself, the judge said, "I see," and returned it to the security officer, who started distributing it to the jury. The prosecutor yelled, "Objection, Your Honor. This has nothing to do with the current case." "Overruled," said the judge. "It's a little late for that, don't you think? The evidence is a valid piece of evidence. It shows that the defendant has been going through years of abuse, neglect and prejudice that may have been used to start this very trial." The attorney sat down and complained. Underscore 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 underscore. How do you do, Nara-san? This is troublesome, Nara-san. You were the leader of the squad sent to retrieve Uchiha-san, were you not? The lawyer asked, laughing. Definitely a Nara. I was, judging by the state of your comrades, they too were sent on this mission, correct? Yes, and Uzumaki-san was ordered to go with you. Shikamaru could see this man was playing a game. She was the first to volunteer, and she was sent on the mission. Yes, Shikamaru said. What was her reaction to Uchiha Sasuke leaving the village? Objection. Overruled. Please continue. I appreciate Your Honor. She was understandably upset. Her teammate had just abandoned the village, Shikamaru said, sitting up a little straighter. Was she angry at any time? She was upset, but it wasn't anything serious. How? Well, she was mad, but she was also calm and collected. She never rushed ahead of her team and she never snapped at any of us unfairly. I see. Could you tell me how she responded to the enemy's presence? She looked disgruntled, but I heard her mumble that she hoped their presence meant Sasuke had been forced to leave. Was she relieved that he had been coerced? She was glad he wasn't possibly leaving of his own violation. It meant he would be punished leniently, if not forgiven entirely. And when you all met up with Uchiha-san and he fled for his own violation? The lawyer asked, nodding. I heard from Gaara and Lee that she was reasonably unhappy, but I wasn't there to witness it. You weren't there. What happened? We had to split up so that someone could keep chasing after Sasuke. Why couldn't all of you do so? Orochimaru sent his agents to meet Sasuke outside the village. Once he got out, they were to escort him back to Orochimaru. Once they found out we were following them, they sent ninja to stop us. If we had stayed as a group, we would have eventually lost Sasuke to Orochimaru. And whose decision was this? It was my decision. I see. What was Uzumaki-san's reaction to this decision? She was upset at first, but once I explained it to her, she understood the need. I see. May I ask why Naruto of all people was sent ahead, while everyone else was left behind? Naruto was the only one who had a chance against Sasuke, the only one. I'm not a frontline fighter, I'm a strategist. All of my comrades are strong in their own right, but Sasuke would have beaten every one of them. He had his natural skill, the Sharingan, and Orochimaru's curse seal. The rest of us would have been overwhelmed by the time he used the curse mark. Naruto was the only one who could survive against him. This curse seal has been discussed before, but I want your insight. What do you think it does? Based on both my own observations as well as extensive discussion with Anko Mitarashi, who holds her own curse mark, I have come to the conclusion that it's like an adrenaline drug if its addictive qualities were multiplied by a factor of 11. Can you explain that? Basically, this is how it works. Orochimaru bites the subject and infuses them with his mark. The mark then draws in natural chakra and converts it into usable energy for the subject. However, Orochimaru has made it so that using the mark is addictive, and the more you use it, the more you want to use it. Once the subject is using the mark, they get a large increase in chakra and strength, and some even grow extra appendages of some sort that have unique functions for the subject. Anko has stated that most marks also have a seal matrix inside of them that allows Orochimaru a moderate amount of control over the subject. May I inquire, is it possible for Uchiha-san to have been addicted to the curse mark? No, why is that? He's only ever used it once for a short time. It would take about 3 to 4 moderate uses to become addicted, 5 if you have a strong will. He didn't have the time to actually be addicted enough to the power to leave Konoha for it. What about the control function? Could that have influenced Uchiha-san? No, based on both observation in the field and through Anko, I have concluded that whenever Orochimaru uses that function of the seal, it causes the bearer large amounts of pain. I have also stumbled across information that shows he cannot use it unless he is within the vicinity. There was no sign of Orochimaru, and I doubt he wouldn't have showed himself if things weren't going his way. As for the Uchiha being under control, no, he didn't look to be in pain. Are you sure? He could have been hiding it. I saw a man who didn't flinch while his arm was gradually melted off screen when Orochimaru used the control seal. I seriously doubt that Sasuke could have continued running if it had been activated. Very well, Your Honor, no more questions. Underscore 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 underscore. While the jury deliberated, the rookie 11, sans Naruto, waited outside. Fortunately, the jury had been gathered from locations outside of Konoha, so they had a shot at a fair verdict. What was that legal guy up to? As if he hadn't been assisting Naruto. Did he even support us? Sighing, troublesome, he said, listen, that was his strategy. He was using his questions as a way to expose the truth. For every question we answered, we exposed just how badly Naruto has been treated. By doing so, he shows the jury that the prosecution is prejudiced. Really, they didn't do much to support their case. Referring to her as a disguised demon. Tenten responded, pathetic, still resentful of the disclosure. She hoped the daimyo had directed someone to investigate that matron. He was covering his bases, replied Shikamaru, as they looked at him. He was thinking like the prosecution, asking prejudiced questions on purpose. By asking these questions, not only was he able to steer the conversation and the flow of information, he was letting the full answers come out. The ones that might not seem so flattering at first but once explained paint Naruto in a good picture. At the same time, the answers weren't being twisted into things we weren't trying to say. I understand. Kiba excitedly punched his palm. I'm not sure why they needed all of us here for the last part, to be honest. They were going over the facts of the mission as well as the facts of the crime. I'm not sure about you guys, but I've seen neither scene, Ino stated. We were at least present to encourage our young buddy. With his arms still in a sling, Lee yelled and gave them all the thumbs up. Choji was beside him, dismissing Shizune. He obstinately stated, until Naruto is proven innocent, I don't want to leave. Damn it, at least get into this wheelchair. He complained and continued to eat his snacks while she yelled, pushing him into the chair. Shikamaru was relieved that Shizune was making him take a break because he was still dangerously thin. Shortly after, they were summoned back to hear the jury's verdict. Everyone filed in and sat down, paying close attention to Naruto, who appeared nervous and was kneading her hands. Kakashi gave her a reassuring shoulder pat. The attorney was whispering to them, and the prosecution was silently staring at them. Underscore 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 underscore. Please pardon me if I'm mistaken, I couldn't figure out exactly how this works. The judge commanded stillness, which quickly descended upon the room. The jury entered the room through the side door as the final murmur died away, each of them freely examining the defendant's table. The defendant, jury, and entire council will all be shown in the record. Ladies and gentlemen, I understand you have reached a verdict. Has the bailiff been given the verdict form? Come forward, please. As the foreperson stepped forward, there was stillness. The foreperson will read and record the verdict, the daimyo said. What say you, foreperson? Is the defendant guilty or not of attempted second-degree murder, attempted voluntary manslaughter, or attempted premeditated murder? Does the defendant have a history of intentionally hurting the victim? Count 1 of the verdict in the country of fire versus Uzumaki Naruto, we, the jury, duly appointed and sworn, and the above entitled action, upon our oaths, find the defendant not guilty. The prosecution failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant committed attempted murder, nor did they prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant harmed the victim voluntarily. 0 jurors found premeditated, 0 found voluntary manslaughter, and 0 found second degree. The jury also begs the court to find in favor of looking into serious allegations of discrimination and power abuse against the different council members and other influential individuals in Konoha. Signed foreperson. Say you all, is this your actual verdict? Every juror gave a good response. Ladies and gentlemen, the cleric is now going to ask each of you a question. Please answer yes or no. The clergyman approached each juror one at a time and asked, is this your actual verdict? Every one of them said, yes, with the authority granted to me by the people, I hereby declare Uzumaki Naruto not guilty. Case dismissed, the daimyo said, staring directly into Naruto's eyes. Yes, I am aware that it's probably not like this. If you were to sue me, perhaps I would learn the truth. A blonde blur nearly knocked Ino, Tenten, and Shikamaru, who took the brunt of it, straight to the ground as they were waiting outside. Naruto exclaimed, you guys, with tears of happiness streaming from her eyes. She buried her face in Tenten's shoulder and gave the three of them, who were being crushed by her, the strongest hug she could manage. While Hinata chuckled and Lee yelled about her youth abilities, Kiba laughed loudly at Shikamaru, who was becoming blue from oxygen deprivation. The others stood away or assisted them in standing up. Naruto questioned, looking around for her kind friend, hey, where'd Choji go? Sakura said, Shizune dragged him back to the hospital. He refused to leave before you were sentenced, so Shizune compromised with him and let him watch the last of the trial, as she affectionately observed her comrade. Naruto smiled brightly and said, it's almost 1 o'clock, and I don't know about all of you, but I'm ready for lunch. Kiba whooped, hey, we should go celebrate. Wiping the dust off her clothing, Ino remarked, that sounds fine. I still have to stick to my diet as long as we go somewhere that serves vegetarian food. Naruto shrewdly said, Ichiraku's has all sorts of options. Choji is going to be so jealous that we're going to eat without him, Tenten said with a grin. Let's bring him something. I bet if I asked Tsunade would let me take him an Uzumaki special. As fun as all that sounds, I'm afraid we have somewhere to be. Naruto. The genin were left wondering how they hadn't noticed him earlier until Naruto yelled, leaping in astonishment, Kakashi-sensei. Her gray-haired teacher smiled sweetly behind her. Sakura said inquisitively, where is she going, sensei? I'm afraid that Naruto needs to be checked back into the hospital, Hokage's orders. We only left in the first place because of the trial, no need to chance more injury before she even finishes healing from her last injuries, Naruto whimpered, but sensei. Ramen, and then coughed gently. Tenten questioned, you okay? As her friends looked at her anxiously. Yeah, I'm okay, my chest feels a little tight though. Come on, Blondie, it's time to go, Kakashi stated disapprovingly, adding that the painkillers were wearing off. With a puzzled glance at her sensei, Naruto said, fine. I'll see you guys later. Tsunade told me to tell you all that you can come visit her later. Naruto needs to be checked over and settled in, Sakura inquired, do you think we can bring food with us? Kakashi responded simply, I wouldn't be opposed to helping you smuggle some in. Ja-ne, he added, placing a hand on the teen with the whiskers. They both shimmered out of existence after that. Kiba remarked excitedly, so, everyone's still up for food?